Hi, welcome to Market Alert for Wednesday, the 15th of July 2020. So the Dow outpaces the Nasdaq for the third straight day, bonds, bullion and Bitcoin bid. And the reason for this is we had this stocks surge on Moderna vaccine news Redux. This is the detail of the news that already hit on the 18th of May, but it was reused yesterday to move the markets to the upside. And boy, did they move up yesterday. Incredibly strong later on in the afternoon and evening. Add to this that the consumer prices soared by most in 11 years in June and rebound in fuel costs. 11 years, note this, I've spoken already of food prices increasing by the autumn and all the way through next year because of the supply lines being broken. But this is an interesting one because this is actually bad news, which sent the market lower initially, and of course straight away they bought off the lows. But it's again, let's just go back and revisit something and use this to drive the markets higher. You'll see this all the time. Bad news is supplemented by good news, but ultimately near record numbers on Wall Street saying that stocks again overvalued. Just 14% believe in a V-shaped recovery. That number's dropping off markedly as well because there isn't going to be a V-shaped recovery. You'd have to have half a brain cell to believe that there's going to be any sort of V-shaped recovery in the economy. Maybe in the stock market, but certainly not in the economy. And also yesterday, which I do talk about more when we look at the trades, the UK quarterly GDP came out at minus 19. I'd say that was a V-shaped recovery. And of course, tongue-in-cheek, again, this will improve, of course, as the new abnormal, we can't call it normal, abnormal starts to unfold. There will be a sort of free from lockdown euphoria where people will spend initially, but as we go into the autumn, by God, it's going to get very, very miserable. And economically, that is speaking, because with the compulsory wearing of face masks in shops and whatever, well, there's going to be a boycott of the high street, that's for sure. People will order online, and we'll see all sorts of knock-on effects there from the economy as well, especially if they bring it into the likes of pubs and whatever, which is a bit of a paradox, really. You can have to wear a face mask in a pub, in a shop, but not in a pub or restaurant at the moment. The whole thing's just bizarre, but that's another subject for another day. Okay, let's have a look at yesterday's trades. Okay, so we've got the kickoff. We can see in the pre-market, prices moving higher. Got some potential weakness here. Prices across, and then they move lower. We start off with a bit of selling, only just above the average, and then immediately the buyers come in and drive the market up to the BRN with selling pressure. With some profit taking at this level. And then you'll see them buy back in this bar, which is this one. And then as soon as they break through and head towards the DP, this is hit with selling, which you can see here, which is higher than the previous bar. The volume's higher, so there's weakness around. This weakness then turns into selling, and then we see the MDI turn to red. The next bar tries to close above or trade above the 20 bar moving average, fails. The next bar also fails. The market's making lower highs, presented with the weakness, and then the market moves lower and fills the trade. Now at this point you want to see the market head down to this BRN, this big round number, which is also where the scalp is. Now to get through this area you need to drive through. It's like a floor, you need to give it a good whack to get through it. You need some force, and you'll see the market trade down to it, but at this point fail to really drive through. We then see a bit more driving. The volume is only just above the average, and then we've got another issue here because we've got the previous day's close and we've got the 200 bar moving average, and which are both support areas. So you'll see the market now finding support at this level. I'm watching the volume closely. I've moved the stop to break even prices come back, fortunately don't hit the stop. They go back below the BRN, and then you'll see prices move back up again and then get slammed down. And then you'll see, as we go through the 200 bar moving average, you'll see the buying coming into the market here. This is where the pros are taking the profits. We're at the close, we're at the 200 moving average. There's 20 points on the table. There's nothing wrong with taking the profits at this level. And you'll see the buying coming in there, the shorts covering the trade and moving prices back to the upside there. So let's move along, and we then see that we have a potential sell. The market fills once more and starts to move lower. We trade down to the scalp, but the market's really struggling to move lower here. You can see this, the market's sideways to higher. It eventually manages just to close below the scalp, and then again you'll see the buying coming into the market. Have moved the stop to break even because it's not looking too solid on the downside, especially when we saw the buying come back in here after the market moved lower. This was the previous one where we saw them buy. Market moved higher and then was moved to the downside to the low. And what I've mentioned before in yesterday's market alert about how important the low is for the market. So having come off the lows, again I'm watching the volume. I'm looking to see if the pros are buying back in at this level, and you can see there the volume is actually racing back up very quickly here, and you'll see this in a second. As prices started to move, they turned back to green, and it was a case of getting out of the trade, which we did. I thought there was a bit more detail there, but it doesn't appear to be, which is a shame. But that was the bar, and like I say, moved to break even, and watching the volume, and they bought back in. And then, of course, we start to move back to the upside, back towards the 200 bar moving average. We have a potential buy here, but now we've got an issue with the BRN on the upside, because this is where we saw the selling before. So we need to drive through this in order to move higher. And there we see prices eventually moving higher. We've got 25 points on the table at this point. We've got selling in this area here. And again, you're watching the volume just to see what the market is going to do. And you can see there's some selling around. Prices attempt to move higher, and they start to just fast forward here. I can see the professional buying bar, but at the moment we're sitting on 39 points of profit, which was a good trade. The market, I was hoping was going to trade up to this level, but failed to do so. Still above the 5 bar moving average at the moment, but now you'll see prices coming back and closing below the 5 bar moving average and out of the trade. Prices then traded sideways, and we had a potential sell there that wasn't filled. You see prices race back. Then we had another buy, and we've got an issue here, because this is where we were stopped out of the last trade. Prices are struggling at this level. It's going to take a lot to break through, and the market's been sideways as well. So we're under no illusion here that it's going to take some effort to move to the upside, particularly as the volatility has dropped off. There the order is filled, and we see the market attempting to move higher and just hitting the scalp at this point. And again, you've got that resistance over to the left. The volume is dropping off. There is no major players around. So here it's either break even or take the money off the table. And there you can see the increase in volume as prices are coming back. So we know that they're actually selling at this point. And then you'll see prices trading sideways and eventually breaking the MDI, the 20 bar moving average, and then moving to the downside there. And that was the last trade that we had in the morning session, which I'm just going to finish off. And again, notice the buying coming into the market at the close of the previous day. So again, crucial area there. And then prices start to move back to the upside. So notice here that you've got this volume, and then prices find support, and then they moved a bit further up after, but it's 10 o'clock and that was it for the morning shift. Now in the afternoon, let's just bring this over. Unfortunately, the recording didn't work, which is a real pain because there was some really good information in it that I wanted to show you unfolding in real time. We started off with a potential buy signal, but this was, even I've got a fast trigger finger for getting into the market, but even I couldn't get into this. The market just moved and went up to the DP level without me on this occasion. Potential weakness came in, giving the clue, and the market then moving back to the downside. We see them buying back in at this level. I'm just going to put the crosshairs on. Just want to show you something here, which I wanted to show you in real time, but unfortunately I can't. So if you look up here, you will see the volume is 708 for this narrow bar. If we go back to the previous bar, which is that one, I don't know why that jumped then. Let's just you will see 692 volume for this one. So this one had 692, this one 703, didn't move lower, which is why you see them buying back into the market and bringing the market back. We then had a sell, which I traded down, but we weren't getting a lot on this. And again, as soon as I saw this, where the pros were buying back in, we had 703 contracts or ticks of volume on this bar. And again, that support at the close. We've got the low down here, and then it was a case of bringing the market back. So it was an interesting day. There was some good trades there, and apart from this one in the morning where it was a bit lackluster, all the others went on to make profits. The first one in the afternoon I didn't get in on, and that's because we had the CPI figures. They came out, and you can see these here. I mean, you can't make this crap up anymore. You really can't. So the GDP figures for the UK as well, minus 19 if you look at the bigger picture. Let me just grab a chart for you on this so you can see it somewhere. So here's the gross monthly domestic product. This is quarterly. And you can see it there down at minus 19. So if you think things are going to improve going forward, then think again, because it is not. It's no chance, absolutely no chance of turning around. Yeah, of course, there'll be slight improvements, but if you think we go back to a boom and normality, then forget it. That's not how it works. It's not going to be that way at all because of the amount of money printing, etc., and also all of the other problems of potential second spikes and all the rest of it going into the autumn. Just going to be absolute carnage, both on the economy front and the stock market front as well. So there we go. That was up until 4 p.m. That was the news factored in as well. That's actually not that one. This is the one I want. There we go. And then the market moving higher through the evening, and then pulling back thereafter, going up with the Dow. Obviously, the Dow wanting to move to the upside, keep things make things look as if everything's okay, which we know isn't. Okay, before we conclude, let's have a quick look, see what the markets are doing on the overnight. We'll start with the German DAX, and in the daily chart, let me just turn off the crosshairs for a moment. We can see yesterday green, we had buying, told you it was a strong day up, and that's because of that low. As I keep mentioning, when you've got a situation where they want the markets on the high, the low becomes critical. The market traded down to this and then moved higher, as you saw in the review of the trades. But overnight prices gapped up at least, let's have a quick look and just work this out. We'll get a ballpark figure. That's where they opened. They opened up 61 points higher, gapped higher. I don't know why. I can't find anything from this apart from the fact that there was a lot of momentum to the upside. Price is gapping up 61 points. and then trading over 100. You can see from here, redraw that from this BRN to above the BRN there, so over 100 points from the close, which is really odd. That was for an hour, and then we see the markets kicking in at what time was this? 18 minutes past. Again, we see the market 18 minutes past 1 a.m. We see the markets gapping up again, and then overnight prices move lower. We've seen the buying coming in. We see the start of it here, all of that green there, and the market moving to the upside there. Let's have a look and see where we are with all of the pivots and things. We're above the DP. We're above they're sitting on the 200 bar moving average at the moment. Just trying to get a sense of where we were from yesterday. Yesterday's high is here. Yesterday's low is here, which is the same as the low from the previous day, I would imagine. So at the moment, you can see again, we're buying at the 200 bar moving average. Again, if you use the volume, look at the price action, gives you a major advantage over just looking at price action and wondering why prices are sitting where they are. Also, the 200 bar moving average, which is used by all of the pros in the industry. Let's have a look at the Dow. Again, market gapped higher. Most bizarre. You see yesterday, prices reversing from Monday's down day below the 200 bar moving average, straight back through it and heading back to the 78 there, got the 89 in the way, then the recent high, and then the all-time high that we saw in January, February of this year. But you can see yesterday, again, low, market coming down to the low, green bars. There is some selling, there's a battle, but eventually the market gives way, and this is the bar. It comes off the low, closes off the low, having retested once more. You've got that, just change the colour, you've got up, back, and then off we go. That pattern we've seen for the last 10 years, and the market just continued, and there's your gap up on this one, which is from the close to the open of this one. Is 200 points, so I don't know what's going on, but very strange, very strange. It hasn't done anything since, but certainly on the bullish side there at the moment, and this is what we could see initially when the DAX opens, is a bullish move to the upside. Okay, that will do it for this one. As ever, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.